coming to the show, most of the audience would be interested first on the immigration's current H1B visas. So now it's the season because March 31st is the end for new H1B visas. Can you throw some light on what has changed from last year? Is there, because people are confused that whether the fees has increased, or if anyone from India wanted to apply, what is the fees, and are there any changes in the structure? Are there any changes in the processes, like the do we need a client letter? That if you throw some light so that they will be aware of what it is and they can apply to the right candidate, and they can apply their application to the right firms.
See, from the last year also, I did a lot of shows saying that companies should not file multiple applications. See, what has been happening from past couple of years, because the companies went and incorporated sister companies from the same premises, and they filed multiple applications from different companies. What has been happening is immigration has been sending notices to the employers and employees, and their visas are getting revoked. What is the meaning of revocation? Cancellation of their visas. And a lot of employers are being audited because when an employer is filing an application for the registration, there is an attestation online saying that whatever you're telling is truth. And it is very clearly said from last year, even now, that you're not making multiple applications. That's the key. But now, because a lot of employees are getting penalized, we're constantly getting calls that people who are H1 has been approved for 6 months and 1 year, and now they're getting revocation letters from the immigration, and the companies are getting auditing letters. So this year, what immigration has done, they said instead of doing it on employer's name, they have made it, the software has been changed. They're more concentrating on the employee's details, beneficiaries' details. So the immigration said you can have a couple of applications, but it has to be a bona fide offer, not from the same company or your sister company. You can have an independent company. It's like example, if a Google is offering, Microsoft can also offer you. If Google is offering, Apple can also offer you. So if you have two bona fide job offers, you can apply. But if it gets picked up, only one will be applicable. If you do more than that, and you'll be in trouble. So that'll be canceled. And second thing they said repeatedly, if you have two passports, use only one passport. For example, some people in the world have two passports. I mean, of course, India doesn't have two passport situation, but other countries like Australian citizens or other country citizens, they double passport, they can have two passports. So the immigration is clearly saying if you have, don't use two passports for two different companies, only use one passport. The other thing is they have changed the protocol that if an employer is doing anything unlawful, they're clearly taking, they're asking the employer to undertake that they would report this to law enforcement agencies. What does it mean? They could give it to any police law enforcement agencies. If any fraud or any misrepresentation is perpetrated, they can get in trouble. That means the employer would end up in jail. In the past, if you see, Praveen Garu, that in America, a lot of times when the companies, if they have committed any fraud, if you see, even in California or Texas or anywhere, the big company owners have been arrested. Those companies' H1s have been cancelled, heavy penalties been imposed on the employers, and many of them, these guys ended up in jail as well, and they've been deported also. So they're clearly saying, don't misrepresent us, because immigration is a sovereign, a government. You don't lie to a government. You don't commit a fraud or a misrepresentation, because whenever you're filling up a form, you're doing an oath. What is the meaning of that? When you take an oath, you have to tell everything truth. But unfortunately, people don't understand. When you're making an oath, there is an oath act which says that if you lie on an oath, that amounts to perjury. And perjury is a moral turpitude offense. And for your visa cancellation, if you have committed a moral turpitude, even if you have a green card, your visa could be terminated because it's a moral turpitude offense. And lying to American government or any government, it's a felony. It's more than 1 year jail term. So these are serious offenses in America. So people think, oh, I'm just making a statement on oath. What does it matter? It does not matter in India, perjury, but it does matter in America. You will definitely go to jail. And if you're especially an employer, US employer, the Americans are giving you an opportunity and privilege to sponsor foreigners. That means you come under the definition of US employer and you're paying taxes. You're sponsoring people, you're bringing some people into this country. You want to bring good people. And after bringing them, you're sponsoring them for a green card. So you're a taxpayer. There is a lot of onus on the employer. That means you have very many privileges. So when you have privileges, don't breach them. And you have to follow the Constitution, you have to follow the tax laws, you have to follow the immigration laws. So the changes are only these couple of them. In terms of fees, they were saying that they would increase for registration 250, but it's coming from next year. They're only $10 now for registering. So they have not increased. And two, they've increased the H1B filing fees. Earlier it was only $17.10. Now they've increased about $200-300 extra. And even for the premium processing, they've increased about $300. Other than those two, there is no extra fee on these two. What I've been warning and giving my opinion to a lot of employees, do some research about the employer, find out whether they are bona fide, because there are websites you can find out from Department of Labor website whether the employer is qualified or disqualified. And there is an immigration website called ICE website, Immigration and Custom Enforcement, where there's some blacklisted IT companies names are there. And you can do research about the promoters. You can get a lot of information, whether they're in trouble with the law. And there is another private company, third party, called Dun & Bradstreet. If you have a Dun & Bradstreet company number, if the company has that number, just like individual has our social security number, like EN number, Dun & Bradstreet also gives a number. If you have that number to the company, ask them, find out how many years old these companies, how many employees they have, what sort of loans they have taken. Is the employer, is he the green card holder or a citizen, or is he a student, or is he an H1B guy? These days, a lot of students and H1B guys are also opening companies and trying to sponsor. That is unlawful. Find out about the promoter. What is the promoter does? What is his background? Check it out in LinkedIn. Then take up a job offer. And these are the ifs and buts, do's and don'ts. Employees from overseas are looking at getting an H1B. In terms of employers, I'm sure from past 2 years, they've become alert that they cannot breach any law. And a couple of days ago, I received a call that from Texas, the IRS and immigration is raiding the guest houses of these employees, where they're having 10 people, 15 people. And I just received a call from a guy, these employers are also doing money laundering because they're giving 2 jobs to the employees, and one job they're giving cash. So one client has called me from another state, which I don't want to disclose. They have asked, the employer has asked him to go and bring some cash. So he went in the car, he's a student, to bring cash $30,000 or $40,000. The police arrested him under the money laundering. So these things you have to be careful in America. So these are the do's and don'ts from the last year. But the new things are coming up, so one has to be careful.
Absolutely. That's a great insight.